Yo, what up? Chris, out here, black land ownership's doing a thing up here in Maine. Look at this. I'm trying to tell y'all. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Do you see this? It's beautiful out here. All right? So I'm just chilling, just kicking it. And I wanted to tap in. There have been a couple conversations I'd like to have. One is about this constant argument around capitalism and communism and socialism and whatever these words you think they mean, all right? We've never seen capitalism, socialism, or communism put into effect on any major scale like in a country as large as America, right? United States of America. Or Soviet or any of those countries. All right, now theoretically, I don't even know how you want to define these things, so I'm just going to stick with capitalism today. The idea that black folks will be saved by black capitalism, or the idea that the only thing that will alter the scenario black folks are in when it comes to the economic disparity, the educational disparity, the lack of access, lack of opportunity, the mistreatment by the police, is get money. You hear all these black elitists talking about get money, get better jobs, make more money, move out of the hood, get more money, and do it at whatever cost. This idea that it doesn't really matter if you contribute to society, or it doesn't really matter if you have a responsibility to your neighborhood. What matters is you make money over people, and those people get called certain words. You know what mob means, right? And so what does that mean for our society when black folks now are exhibiting the same capitalist tendencies as the people that enslaved us? And a person would be like, what? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Now, not all white people had slaves. Actually, the majority of white people did not have slaves. Not all black people came to this country as slaves. They were black people in America when the Europeans showed up. I'll let you do the knowledge on they came before Columbus and all the other stories of Africans coming to the New World way before Leif Erikson or any of these other people. All right, but let's say we're talking about 2021. And did Africans develop the form of capitalism under which we live right now in America? No. And so when we think about the European orientation towards capitalism, it's extraction based. It's inherently exploitative, right? So when we're talking about black folks finding liberation, whatever that means, when we're talking about black folks seeking freedom, whatever that means, is that going to happen utilizing a tool such as capitalism? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say inherently, if black folks continue to behave in capitalist manners, they will exploit and take advantage of each other in the same ways in which other people would exploit and take advantage of us. Now, it may not be the exact same way because we don't control the judicial in the same way, the executive or the legislative, but in the sense of how humans are treated and how labor is exploited, it'll be the same thing. So whether or not you're black or white, if you are exploiting labor out of somebody, it's going to end up with the same dehumanizing consequence. So if I'm looking at it like, well, black capitalism functions on what? Black bosses taking advantage of black workers, black landlords taking advantage of black tenants, black executives taking advantage of black whoever. How does that actually help us? And if we look at the numbers and the statistics, they're, black billionaires now. Have the disparity between wealth increased or decreased in the black community, and comparing the black community to the majority community? It's increased. It's not like now that there's Michael Jordan and he's a billionaire, or now that there's LeBron James, or now that there's Kanye or Jay-Z, then all of a sudden the black community has money. Oh, you see that sunset? It's dope out here. It's not like because BET makes a lot of money, all of a sudden the black community gets the benefit of that revenue that's generated. And when we talk about what's done in order to generate that revenue, think about how Nike makes money. They exploit labor of little kids in foreign countries, and maybe not little kids anymore. Maybe by now it's like, 19-year-olds or something like that. If you look at the media industry and how it exploits image and exploits culture, when you look at any of these capacities for wealth generation, is that going to be what actually helps black people? And a person would say, oh my God, you don't want anyone to have a job or do any work. So I also want to get through all the Kool-Aid sipping fake capitalists. There was money before capitalism, right? There was ownership before capitalism. There were markets before capitalism. People exchanged goods before capitalism. There was innovation before capitalism, all right? There was social growth, movement, progress before capitalism. Technological advancement occurred before capitalism, right? Capitalism theoretically emerges what? Out of, maybe the Industrial Revolution in Germany. That's one way to look at it. Which happens when? 16th century, 17th century, you know, like how recent, right? It's not like the Industrial Revolution in Germany happened, 400 AD, whereas there have been markets in Timbuktu and economic activity since how long ago, right? There have been markets and activity in Egypt. How long ago? There have been Africans who've been exchanging goods, doing cross the continent trade, possible international trade, for how many centuries before anyone came up with capitalism? Cowrie shells are tokens or means of exchanging items. Money or coins or things of that nature existed prior to capitalism. The Romans had coins. The Greeks had coins. You can run down a list. The coin of Minerva, I got a tattoo of it on my arm. You know what I'm saying? And so we have this fake conversation that without capitalism, there's no money. Without capitalism, there's no exchange. Without capitalism, there's no market. The one market that did not exist prior to capitalism was the labor market, where I don't realize that our labor is an asset. When we go to work, they're buying our labor from us. We're supposed to negotiate. We're supposed to give them the highest fee possible. We're not supposed to go into work and they tell us how much they pay us. We're supposed to tell them what we're worth. Our work is labor. Our labor has value. The time we spend, the effort we put into it, the damage it does to our bodies. So what's new in capitalism is that there's this labor market, that people are viewed as an asset and are purchased for labor services. And so just think about that. You can have money, you can have property, you can have exchange, you can have markets, you can have all that without capitalism. But what you don't have is a labor market. So what does having a labor market do? It drives the capitalist to lower the value of labor while still increasing productivity, which means you are worth less over time. Why are we using that system? And if someone's like, well, capitalism just means that you can sell stuff. That's not true. Capitalism is unique in that it values capital. It values the objectification of items. It values this centralized way of managing it and exchanging it, and places that value over other things. It's where the capitalist, or the person who owns, is allowed to take the profits and the excess, and instead of equally distributing it, instead of coming up with the equitable way of distributing it, is able to divide it in whichever way they see fit. And so you see the CEO make 1,000 times more than the janitor. That's unique. There are other forms of economic exchange where they say that's bad. If we are working on a farm and you happen to be the person that knows other rich people and can set up the business deals, that doesn't mean you get so much more money than the person that actually digs up the product, or the person that farms, or the person that stacks the hay, or the person that delivers it. You would think that, well, all the parts get the benefits of the profit. But in capitalism, the profit is not equitably distributed. It's not like, well, all 10 of us work together to bring this product to market. We evenly split the results. It's not like, well, you had a job that included more liability than mine, so you get a slightly higher percentage. It's literally 3 people make more than the other 97 people. How does that work out? So I just want, like, when people talk to me about capitalism, look it up. Like, read about it, like what it is. Not is it good, is it bad, but what makes it unique? What happened so that after the German Industrial Revolution, we started talking about capitalism, socialism, and communism? And what's happened government-wise so that Americans are afraid of socialism? The way I grew up, socialism was worker-owned, right? It wasn't government-owned. It wasn't this idea that the government controls everything. It's the workers control the means of production, right? And then just look that up, what I mean by the workers control the means of production. And in capitalism, the capitalist controls the means of production, and the proletariat, who's a worker, is under service. And it kind of comes from this belief that capitalism is an extension of feudalism, where you had the fight, you had the vassals, you had the knight, you had the wealthy person, you had all these things. But the idea that the capitalists had the land, there were the enclosure movements, you can't grow your own stuff, you work my land, I take a portion of it, sell it, you get to live on the land and get a tiny bit of it to eat, I keep all the profits. Bam, have a nice life, sharecropping, you know? But we'll get to that, all right? All I'm saying is think about it. There are other means of exchange. Capitalism is not the only way or by